Store Graveyard Halloween Special. Welcome to Video Store Graveyard's Halloween Special, where we dig up movies worth watching or bury them back in the graveyard where they belong. As always, I'm Dano.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Andrew. Wait, hold on. That's reverse. Other way around. Wait, no. You are Tex. I am Andrew.
No, Somebody's having identity crisis.
It's Halloween. I'm not sure what mask I'm wearing.
There you go. Well, we can't have our everyday faces on, can we, for Halloween? Once again, excited that you're joining us for this, and we've saved a couple movies that we've been waiting to talk about specifically for Halloween for this special. And guys, I'm really excited about these.
Me too.
Me too. Me three.
Me five.
And they're both directed by Damien Leone. His directorial debut is the first one we're going to talk about. 2013 anthology movie called All Hallows Eve. Originally started as a short movie that he did in 2008 called The Ninth Circle. And then he followed that up with a 2013 film Terrifier, which is the second movie we're going to be talking about, but he did do a Terrifier short, and that is the third segment of this anthology that we're going to be watching. And so first off, guys, what overall basic opinions of what you saw, what you liked about it, and then let's get into the plot a little bit and some of the other details.
I would just say right off the bat that to all the women in the world, be careful with this one. This is a very insensitive movie, especially towards women, I think.
I agree.
And not the whole time.
Not
the whole time, but there's some moments I'm just like, wow, this, like my first thought was, dude, this director has a thing for women in a weird, dark kind of way.
Especially the cult scene. I thought so. I got
the cult scene.
vibe.
Yeah, spoilers ahead for those who haven't seen our other episodes.
True.
Spoiler alert.
And doesn't do little kids any favors either, but
no, it doesn't.
Well, no. Okay, I want to talk about that whole scene where, like, the babysitter is like, "Oh no, we're not going to watch this tape," but then she does it anyways, and she lets a lot of the things that are in the film slide, and then doesn't shut it off till like at least a good 10 minutes in, and I'm like, you should have stopped it like way back here before this. I'm sorry. The pregnancy is where you have a problem? Really?
So yeah, the anthology is like the VHS before it. Involves a tape that a kid gets in his trick-or-treat bag on Halloween, and he and his sister and the babysitter, he wants to watch it. She doesn't want him to watch it because she knows that playing VHS roulette is never a good idea, especially on Halloween. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that's where the anthology comes from. Is it's all the different shorts are films that are on this tape that they start watching.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Dana. What was the movie where you had 7 days to live? What was that film?
Oh, The Ring. The Ring is
The Ring.
If you watch the movie, yeah, you have 7 days to live.
I was kind of getting a little bit of vibes from this movie of The Ring a couple times because of the tape thing, and then the tape being real and all that stuff. But I will see. What do you guys think about that? As far as that,
is Art the Clown in it? Because I thought we were talking about All Hallows Eve.
We are talking about Art the Clown.
I'm just messing with you, man.
I get what you mean about the tape. Yeah,
the tape. And The Ring. Yeah.
It's an effect, a supernatural effect comes into play because of the playing of a VHS tape, which definitely was approached first in Ring U. And a little, I'm not going to get too off track, but a little side note story for you. One of the last, when I worked at Video to Go in Brownwood, one of the last screener copies of any movie we ever got on VHS was The Ring. It showed up on VHS.
Really?
And one night I watched it, and then the phone rang after I watched it. And then 7 days later, I come home, and my door is slightly ajar. I go into the living room, and there's snow on the TV, and right then the phone rang, and I about had a heart attack. It was just my sister calling to let me know she had just watched the movie as well. Anyway, there's a little spooky Halloween story for you. Okay, so back to All Hallows Eve.
Art the
this
Clown.
Yeah, Art the Clown. Oh man,
Probably the best part of the movie for me, I would say.
Really?
I thought so. Yeah, I thought he was the best, villain and best thing about the movie. I thought so.
Well, the good thing is he kind of pops up in all three stories, although the third one is the main story about him. But the very first story that they watched, she finally lets them watch the VHS tape. Said if it gets too bad, we're going to stop it. As you pointed out, Andrew, she lets it go way longer than I would have too. I think it's probably because she's just as flabbergasted and in awe of what they're seeing. Like, what is this? As they are.
Yeah.
And it is a weird that train waiting for the train section or bus. Was it a bus or a train they're waiting for?
It was a train. It was a train. They said train. They said train. I remember them saying train.
All right. Yeah, that was the first appearance of Art. And he comes in there.
He cracks me up. He cracks me up though, but he is kind of terrifying, which hence why there's the Terrifier movie that we're going to talk about next. But my favorite part about him is whenever he would like get scary or anything, he would randomly get the horn out and go honk honk, and that just made me laugh.
That's funny.
Yeah, great mime skills from that. Art's played by a different clown in Art the Clown's played by a different actor in Terrifier than he is in this movie, but they both do a great job. This one's Mike Giannelli, and he did it for the short. So Art shows up and kidnaps the woman, takes her down into the chamber, or into the subway, or down the train track, wherever they are, and it's a very hellish place to be. As you spoke earlier, Tex, it doesn't do. The women are often are the victims throughout the whole thing. Now that is a proud tradition in most horror movies, but this is a particularly cruel picture, so it does get a lot worse.
Well said, Dano.
You do see them trying to they're trying to gather strength from each other, and just as when you think everything's going to go okay, some woman gets dragged off the chain into the darkness by whatever terrible creatures are waiting down there, and you do get to find out what that is. I forget the name of this particular segment. I think it is called the. This one was the one called The Ninth Circle. This was the first movie he released as a short.
And I'll tell you guys the scene I had the hardest time with was, and we already gave our spoiler alert, so when they're tearing open that woman, down there, and the bowels, just oh my gosh, dude.
Good gore effects.
I almost wanted to look away, but I couldn't believe it was on the screen.
The effects were good, but no, the situation I thought was just it was a little too much.
I particularly thought the effects in the first and the third story were better than the second because it was very bloody and gory, and it looked real what I was looking at, and it looked pretty neat and cool. But what was happening on the screen was terrifying, and it was hard to watch.
Yeah, I could say that other than the fact that I could suspend that disbelief enough to where I was pretty much like the kid in front of the TV that just getting so excited about every gory, nasty thing that happens. You keep seeing it cut back to the living room, and the kid that got the tape is just having the best time of his life. All the two girls in there are like, you can make whatever statement you want about that.
I'll actually say I liked the kid part, like when they were alive.
Spoilers, damn it.
The kid part was actually really funny, and I was relating as well. Just like being all excited, like I want to see what's on this video.
Yeah, it's my movie. I got it. It was in my bag.
Exactly.
That's one of my favorite lines. He's logicking his way into watching this movie that clearly he doesn't need to. I'm going to give this to your parents when they get home. Come on, let me watch it. It's mine. It's Halloween. Oh man. Okay, so speaking, you mentioned that second segment a little bit on the effects, Andrew, and I want you to elaborate on that, but I also want to just kind of break down what the second one is. And either one of you guys, I just want to say it's one of the ones. It involves Art vaguely, just his image. But what did y'all think of that?
Okay, so I'll give the second segment this. It has a really good build up and it has, really good anticipation for what's going to happen. Where I think that the second story fails is I didn't really care for the effect of the alien, and I didn't really think it was that scary, and I just kept kind of saying this is stupid the whole time. It didn't really impress me. The first and the third story were a little bit better than the second one, in my opinion.
Remind me again, which one was the second one?
Okay, the second one is yeah. Go ahead.
That's the second one is when I believe it's like this girl, which I made the mistake of looking away from the screen for a second, and I forgot. Oh yes, this is a movie within a movie, and then I got reminded that it was a movie within a movie. So the second one is it's about this wife who is talking to another girl on the phone, and she said explains to the girl that, oh, my husband drew this art, which is Art the Clown. And yes, it's the alien story. It's the alien story, which Art the Clown is in it, and like face on the painting, and that's the only way he's in that story.
What I read about that was that was because what I understand is that this All Hallows Eve movie is put together by some of his old work, and then he came up with like some quick new work to help make a good running time to call it a movie. And
Correct.
what I understand is that part where she takes off the cloth and it's Art the Clown was one of those things that he just threw in there to make a quick connection to Art the Clown.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that was the third one he filmed, because he had filmed the other two earlier. And they had encouraged him to try to do an anthology with other directors. He was like, no, I want to do all the segments. And yeah, he kind of came up with the idea of doing the alien story. In a way, it is kind of a palate cleanser between the two. He didn't want to have 3 stories with Art just killing people. He said that in an interview, that because he said then that's just going to be all Art killing people, and we have something else in store for that.
Right.
So it is kind of cheesy. It harkens back to that kind of B movie style, but I think that's part of its charm.
It was a palate cleanser. I agree with that, and I don't really feel like All Hallows Eve really is an entirely Art the Clown movie. I feel like there's other things going on in some of these skits that are beyond Art the Clown.
Right.
Especially when they're cutting up in women. And anyway, can't wait to talk about Terrifier. Oosh.
Oh yeah, that's where it doubles down.
It doubles down on the women.
Some other things. Okay, so that second segment, the effects, the suits are kind of cheesy in the way they walk, but at the same time, I'm thinking, well, what's the gravity like on these aliens are from, and maybe they would have a weird suit like this. And I didn't find it creepy. I did find it entertaining, though.
That's what I was trying to get into, because I thought, okay, the suit doesn't look particularly very good, but to me, it doesn't look good. But like, I have to think about it in this way. Like, yeah, I'm sure that's what it might have looked like if an alien did come down here. But if I do look at it in a B movie type of way, it doesn't look that bad. And I've seen way worse from like 50s movies and stuff like that. I'm not like ragging on the effect that bad,
Right. I hear what you're saying. But yeah, that had it had its moment, and I do like the idea that you could kind of guess that the picture is going to be Art before you get done. I'd like to have that painting. But anyway, the second segment, I forget the name of it exactly. It's aliens. Moving on to the third section, which I think is the best section of the lot. Yeah, no. Go. What say you?
Well, hold on, Daniel didn't even get to say what he was going to say.
Go ahead and finish, Daniel.
Well, I was just going to say the third installment, which is the short Terrifier, is the one where Art is the main focus, and pursuing this woman down this road. Now, I do want to get Tex. I'd like to get your take on what your overall opinion on that was, but also kind of your what do you think the whole synopsis of that? I mean, you can kind of break down that plot line for us.
Well, to tell you the truth, overall, the plot lines in the movie were a little bit of a stretch for me. I honestly I got tainted when they were cutting open women. I know I've mentioned that a few times, but it really tainted the rest.
It
of
really
the
traumatized you. I can tell it's good. It
It
got you.
it bugs me like to no end.
Yeah, it does
but
do it in some ways more than a lot of movies have, or at least without any. It's very grindhouse, non exploitation, non apologetic, and no real moral lesson to it at
but
all.
I will say this: this particular actor who played Art the Clown in All Hallows Eve really did a good job with his presence and his freakiness. Just like I did appreciate that, and I also want to go ahead and give credit to some of the directing sequences. Some like some of this stuff was really intense, yeah, but it was really well directed for a horror movie that probably didn't get as much money as it could have gotten if it had been a super mainstream movie. They did what they could with the money they had, and while I didn't always enjoy the experience, I gotta say that they did put some quality into it on the with the makeup and special effects and action sequences and things like that. And so I'll definitely give it that. And with that, I will go ahead, if it's okay with you guys, throw my horns in
Oh,
on All
sure.
Hallows Eve.
Yeah, go ahead, and then
Is it time,
I'll.
Andrew? Did you have a retort?
Well, I want to elaborate on the effects real quick because there's a part. Okay, so I noticed that there was purpose film greens on the first story, and it wasn't that noticeable. It was here and there. Second story, it was here and there. I noticed on the third story, it was very noticeable on the third story, the film grains. And I don't know if you guys noticed as much as I did, but at that point, it did not look very good at all, period. It looked like it was something off of.
You mean the filter?
Yeah, the
use?
filter look. That was film grain filter. If we must get technical.
Yeah.
I thought it looked. I thought it looked super cheap and like a YouTube filter and didn't look very good. It was
You
really
didn't feel
bugging
like
me
it
the whole
added?
time.
You didn't
Not in
once
my
think
opinion, no.
it
No,
added
it
to
didn't.
what
It's funny. I was going to say that's one of the things I liked the best.
greedy? Really?
Yeah, it gave you that old grindhouse feel that I thought it was. It didn't come. I mean, I could see how it does increase. I see what you're saying there, Andrew. It does.
I thought in the first and the second story it was cool and it was nice, and then it overstayed its welcome in my opinion in the third story. I thought it was getting a little ridiculous.
Gotcha. I liked it because it was. I liked anything that kind of made me feel like I was watching a tape. I do wish that it had some tracking issues on it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like it trying to autocorrect itself and um,
They,
but no,
they did try that. They did try
yeah,
that a couple times.
but yeah,
That
that's
didn't
part of the that was part of the appeal I liked on it. I will say this, and one of the reasons I like this is the third segment. And then Tex, I want you to do your horn rating, and we can all kind of get into that. The reason why this, other than the fact that it kind of rounds out everything, it's Art's story. Um, you can see where they go in Terrifier from this, but there are other aspects of it that I like. One, you have, and this is something I was thinking about while I was watching it too. When this last time I watched it, is about the third time. Uh, Something that made me think of you guys actually, because I started thinking because there's several sequences in this where she's driving to get away, and there Art is again on the road, and then she's driving, and there he is again on the road. And then she's driving, and there he is again on the road. It made me think of Friday the 13th, the game, Jason's teleportation superpower, which in the movies, Jason hardly ever, I mean, he does show up at some different places, but
That's funny.
it's not utilized in the same way it is in the game. You're not going clear across places. And it reminded me specifically of some of the times I've been Jason trying to chase you guys down and appearing at one end of the road and at the other end of the road. And it totally makes me think about that. He has that. He has that teleportation. The Terrifier has the teleportation power.
I'll say this: I'd be down for like a Terrifier Art the Clown game. If they could do something like that, that'd be pretty cool. But I know that idea from the Friday the 13th teleportation has kind of been stolen already, so I guess they can't do that.
Yeah, it'd probably be more of like an 8-bit. I could see it being more of an 8-bit
Ooh,
game like Keystone Capers or something, where you're trying to get away and then Art just keeps showing up at somewhere else and you got to run the other way, and then you never really win. It's like the old 8-bit arcade games that you just try to survive as long as you can until Art gets you, and he will. Um, so okay, let's. And another segment on that I wanted to talk about on the third, real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
And this is something that I'm just. This is kind of a spoiler for Terrifier 2. So anybody that hadn't seen either of these, but you're probably already way too far in, and it's too late. I like that this is the first time I've seen Art totally breaks the rules, as I call them. Where he just drives up on him and shoots the gun that comes out of nowhere, and it's even more apparent in the next movie we watch. But I remember in that moment thinking, Art doesn't follow the rules.
No, and I can't wait to get more into that with Terrifier because
Totally.
it grows on what you just said.
Yeah, I want to save most of that for later. So anyway, all right, Tex, what do you think? What's your horn assessment?
So I give this 4 horns down. I haven't done that in a while, but for comparison's sake, I'll say that I had more fun watching The Greasy Strangler than this movie. This movie kind of killed it for me a little bit with some of the over the top kind of um, sequences that where you start getting gory and stuff or whatnot. That's fine, I can enjoy that to an extent, but here, like I don't know. But I'll say that Greasy Strangler was a lot more fun than this, and I'm saying that for you two guys because I know I gave Greasy Strangler 4 horns down back in the day, even
I
though
remember.
I give it 4 horns up for the experience with you. But this All Hallows Eve movie actually makes me want to go back and give Greasy Strangler 1 horn up.
That's fantastic.
well,
1 horn up. So no, All Hallows Eve 4 horns down.
all right.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off of Tex's rating here, but I'm not going to give it the exact rating. I won't be as negative as you, Tex, about it, but I'm unfortunately going to have to give this a 2 horns down. I'm not going to go 4 horns down because there's some neat effects in the movie. The first story was kind of creepy. Third story also had some pretty good moments. It starts getting negative once I get into the second story, where I just didn't care about what was going on. I will also go not so negative because the moment where the character says she hears the noise in the house and she goes, "Fuck this," was hilarious, and I laughed my ass off because yes, that is breaking the rules, and I love it. I also have to not give this a 4 horns down because Art the Clown is fantastic, but I just didn't really dig the rest of the movie after he left. I
Hey,
didn't.
Dano,
Yo.
go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, I just didn't really. I wasn't really into the movie after that point. I thought that the stories dragged on a little bit. I thought after the cool effects were gone, it just wasn't really a great anthology, and I've seen better films.
Hey, Dano, I want to interject real quick before you give
Sure.
your.
Go right
I
ahead.
didn't. I never really put a level of rating on the negative. Like 1 horn down or 2 horns down, and that's Andrew kind of sparked that one. So
Yeah.
I always considered 4 horns down just meaning no horns up.
Yeah,
So
Oh
that
well,
I
said,
forget that there is
my
something on that.
apologies.
with that being said, well, hold on. I want to go off of what Andrew. I think that's a really great idea, and that was born right here live. And I will give All Hallows Eve 1 horn down, as opposed to 4 horns down. Then I give it 1 horn down, because it still has a little bit of quality to it, despite some of the weird, crazy, and / other plot.
Well,
line.
I wish then on that note, I wish I could give it one horn down, but I'm gonna have to go two, unfortunately.
Fine. Dano?
God, you are hilarious. First off, I want to say I'm glad that this has changed at least a slight bit your opinion of the Greasy Strangler text.
Yes,
And,
sir.
Yes, sir. I also appreciate y'all's candor on y'all's reviews. Believe it or not, those I think that there were horns down in the original stupid posting on the video store graveyard. That's basically 4 down means keep it in the graveyard, something like that.
Oh,
which-
okay.
yeah.
You know,
or throw it off a cliff. I can't remember which one it is. It's like the Sophie's Choice, but you just leave it at the bottom, and then like where you, how did they kill Jason in that one, or did they just seal him even further down? Oh no, I'm thinking of the first Phantasm, where they plug the hole in the mine shaft. Anyway, okay, so my rating on this deal, I liked this but it's not the best anthology series I've ever seen, and that's basically what I'm viewing it as. It does introduce to the world a horror icon, I think, that's going to have a great future. Which, by the way, both Damon Leon and the guy that plays Art the Clown in Terrifier, who is David Howard Thornton, are both going to be at Texas Frightmare Weekend next year, and Art will be in full clown makeup. So just a little tidbit there if anybody really gets into this and wants to go meet the second Art. But as for All Hallows Eve, it introduces that character. For that, I give it credit. I think it's a pretty good anthology, although not the best. I originally saw this on the now gone and may it rest forever in peace, along with Rhonda, a Bizarre TV on the Roku channel. And
Now it's on Tubi. If anybody wants to watch it, it is absolutely free on Tubi.
yeah, there you go. So I give it 1 up. I thought it was a good anthology, but I have seen better. But just for introducing the world to Art the Clown and for having very entertaining segments and unapologetic violence, I give it, and for having for happening on Halloween, I'll give it the 1 horn up. I'm tempted to give it 2, but I feel like I've been being overly generous with my horns lately. And you can make whatever joke you want about that if you want to. But
Well, Dano, are you feeling horny then?
see, I knew that's almost a dad joke. Anyway,
I can't believe you said that.
so anyway, yes, it is. Well, 'tis the season. Anyway, so 1 horn from me. Tex, you gave it 1 down, right? And then Frosty 2 down.
See you, sir.
All right. Well, didn't fare too great, but I still think that it doesn't belong in the. I think it's worth. Maybe it's one that you want to dig out of the graveyard only on Halloween, and you can take that how you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me,
go ahead.
It'll stay in my Tubi library forever.
There you go. Okay. Well, anything else, guys, before we want to move on?
Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you here in the next episode, our Halloween episode, part 2. Check it out. It's going to be a little surprise for you in part 2. And then part 3, we'll be talking about Terrifier. So happy Halloween, everybody. I hate Halloween part 6, but Paul Rudd is cool. You guys.
All right.
Oh, my God. I hate Halloween part 6.
Time to rewind and open your mind. No late fees to annoy you this time. Video store might be no more, but we're digging up movies worth watching them for. Time to power up the VCR. Headed to the graveyard of films near and far. Watching the strangeness we find on the way. 3 crazy friendos with plenty to say. Come on our journey if you're so inclined. Leave sanity, hope, and good taste behind. Life isn't easy, but whatever is. Video store graveyard is open for biz. Time to rewind and open your mind. No late fees to annoy you this time. Video store might be no more, but we're digging up movies worth watching them for. Time to rewind and open your mind. No late fees to annoy you this time. Video store might be no more, but we're digging up movies worth watching them for.